afternoon and welcome to Ask the Expert, QuickBooks monthly panel to help small businesses. I'm Faith Wheller and I'm the Marketing Director here at Intuit QuickBooks in the UK. So today we're taking a deep dive into what a perfect partnership looks like in business. Often making a success of your startup takes more than just one person. But when we're starting out, we don't always know what to look for in a potential business partner. What skills do they have, which is going to help your business thrive? And what skills could a potential business partner bring to the table to complement that? For some, they find these qualities amongst those that are nearest and dearest to them, whether that's your friends, family, or significant other. So today we're going to be joined by some guests who have experience running businesses with friends, family, or those that are dearest to them, and finding out what makes their partnership special and lead to success in business. As always, we're launching live across YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So please do share your comments and questions in the panel on the side, and we'll get to them at the second half of the show. At Intuit, we've brought QuickBooks and MailChimp together to create a perfect match of business tools for small businesses. Whether that's accounting and marketing, you have it all in one place. And as I was reminded just a minute ago, it is Wimbledon week. So Wimbledon is kicking off and we are going to give you the chance to win one of 10 pairs to have a VIP experience at Wimbledon. All you need to do is tell us who is your perfect business partner, and you then need to do a duet on our video on TikTok using the hashtag perfect partner. So look out for that, and we've put some more details into the comments. The competition is going to close on the 3rd of July and all of the terms and conditions are on the website. So make sure that you enter and win one of those chances to go to Wimbledon. Now to the main event, and I'd love to welcome our guests today, all who have valuable experience and insight into what it's like working alongside someone very close to them. So we have Faye Robertson and Appeti from Appeti Tennis. We have Tommie Eaton and Rebecca Dudbridge from BambuuBrush. And we have Eriona Bajrakurtaj from Major Accounts. Thank you all for being here. Right, so to kick things off, I would love to hear a little bit more about each of you and how your business partnerships have come about. So first of all, let's start with you, Faye.
Well, Eb and I are co-founders and owners of Appeti Tennis in Canterbury, Kent. Our partnership started when we were 4 years old because we went to primary school and secondary school together. But we've been working together for about 23 years now.
Wow. Tommie and Rebecca, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi guys, firstly, thank you for having us. So quick introduction, my name's Rebecca, this is Tommie. We are founders of BambuuBrush, partners in business and real life.
Yeah. It gets all the highs and lows. So we run a sustainable, mission-driven business that has sustainable products and trying to work towards combating plastic waste. And we run educational workshops and big community cleanups. And then the profits from our products fund our impact projects that we have globally. So we met in Australia about 6 years ago, and then we're very lucky to live in Asia. And then from that grew our business around 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm one of your customers as well, by the way.
Oh, amazing.
Eriona, would you like to introduce yourself and talk about your business?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name's Eriona. I'm the Managing Director of Majors Accounts & Co., which is a family-run accountancy practice based in South East London. We've been going as a practice for the last 17 years or so. I started from day one, so I was 13 when I started. My dad founded the practice. I was his first bookkeeper. And then my mom joined, and then we grew the business with other staff and a larger client base. So I know what it's like to work from family for many, many years, and I guess the first job I ever had. So hopefully we'll be able to give some kind of feedback to everyone today.
Yeah, we'll definitely be asking you a little bit more about that later. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go into our first question. So What does it take to go into business with a partner or family member? Eb or Faye, do you want to kick that one off?
I think it's like any other. It's like any other part of your relationship, really. You just have to be pretty flexible. You have to know that it's ups and downs. It's not always going to be perfect. We're, I think, in our 24th or 25th year. So, and we don't only work with ourselves, but we also have, my sister works with us and other family members. Like most small businesses, I think, we've worked with lots of members of our family. But yeah, I think having flexibility and understanding, particularly in a small business, as you guys all know, you're often, I wouldn't say 24/7, but it's certainly not 9 to 5.
Yes, so not only are you working with your partner, but you're also working with your family as well.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
and it's knowing how to, being able to switch on and off is really important, I think. And that's something that's took us probably 10 years to work out, that you've got to be able to switch on and off, and say, no, today I'm off, or right now I'm on, or whatever. So,
Yes, it's about taking those boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Tommie and Rebecca, what's your thoughts on this one?
Our background, we lived in Asia together and we traveled a lot. So we've been in each other's pockets pretty much.
Yeah.
Since day one, which has
helped
helped moving into going from a relationship into a business.
Yeah, and like what Eb said, we're still learning now how to do it. At the start, we were a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. We brought it home. It was our life. We're very fortunate that we're passionate in what we do, so we didn't mind at all. But we're getting a lot better, aren't we, at separating it?
I think it's that separation, but also it is understanding both of you when to switch off, because it does. You're doing well. Both my parents own their own businesses, and they're in the generation where you work at 1 a.m. in the morning, and you work harder and harder, and that kind of actually has gone on to how we work, and we've got to try and separate those boundaries to make it
healthy,
and sustainable in the sense of it not burning out. I think you can just go full on so easily without thinking about the longevity of everything.
Can you talk some more about those boundaries and how you separate personal and work? Because it must be quite challenging when you're together all day, all night. You're trying to run a business and make it successful.
I think the first 2 years of us with the business, we couldn't find that. We couldn't find that balance. But also I think it's the fact of, in those first couple of years of business, you just work constantly. It's not a question. You just need to get everything up and running. So like weekends we worked, didn't we? We were doing market stalls. That's when we had all of our community cleanups. But really in the last 18 months, we've found quite a good balance.
Yeah, we found it really useful to set a plan for the week, and then you have set sections and you stick to that. Yeah. Otherwise, we were just not stopping.
And it's liberating. It's once you do that and you switch your mindset of not working 24/7 and you work 26. It does. It's quite liberating, because then you can separate it. And if something needs to happen on the weekend, you can always slip back in and just crack on, don't you? So.
Great. And Eriona, I mean, it's slightly different for you because obviously you work for your family's practice, but what sort of top tips could you give someone who is going to work for a family?
I would say probably start off your kids early. So I started early, right? And the reason our firm is called Majors Accounts is because my dad used to be a major in the army. So you can imagine how our life was run at home, right? And I was an obedient child, and I fell into line. So when he said you're going to come to work, I came to work. There were no kind of questions asked. If anything, for him, it became harder as I grew up and I started to get my own opinions. And when I took over the practice, we were butting heads on a daily basis, just because I wanted to introduce something new. He obviously had this business that was his baby, so it was trying to find a way of speaking to each other without getting into an argument, because this could be 5 times a day, for example. Why are you doing this? No, I don't do things like that, but we're going down a new route. I don't care. It's always worked this way, And every kind of one that I speak to that has worked or has had this kind of setup working with family, especially where it's the children, they all have the exact same issue. I think at one point my dad realized, when he saw everything that I had put into practice, he realized, okay, things have changed. I'm going to back off a little bit now and let her do what she needs to do. And now he's backed off completely, and he doesn't really want to know. But I think it's to try and establish that understanding. And me and my dad were both very similar. And I say to him, it's your fault you raised me like this, to be like you. So we're quite hot-headed. And when we get an idea in our head, we want to take it to, achieve whatever it is that we've got. But if you're able to find someone who's the third party, so for us, I say, if we didn't have my mum, because she also works in the business, if we didn't have her, I don't know where we'd be. She's like our counsellor to sit us down one at a time. But maybe, having someone there to give you that third perspective as well, I think helped us massively.
Yeah, that's
allowed
great.
us to move forward.
Great. Go on, Tommie.
Sorry, it's what the other side of it is that gets tricky is then switching the roles from being in the business, whereas we've both got our separate roles in the business, and then you go into your personal life, and then you've got different roles, and it's like finding those roles within that. And I can imagine with a dad, that's like crazy hard.
And going back to what Eriona said, it's really good to get someone else's advice. So we actually adopted a business coach, and I advise this for anybody who's starting a business or in a business, and you just get somebody giving you advice from the outside. It was fantastic, wasn't it? Because Tommie might be telling me something and I'm like, yeah, right, I'm doing it my way, it's amazing. But when someone else says it to you, you do it, and it was brilliant.
And just following on from that, Eb and Faye, what communication skills do you use with each other at work to get things done?
Shouting. I don't think it's something we've particularly worked on, if I'm honest. It's grown organically because we, probably like all of you, we've following not just a business but a passion, a dream, and that does make it different perhaps, because you've got to be, it becomes more than work. So if there is a disagreement, which you all know happens, you've spoken about it, you can't just have that argument and blow up, and well, you can, and you do, let's face it, but there's a bigger remit behind it, I guess is what I'm saying. You can't take it personally, and you've got to remember that you all love each other at the end of the day, and whatever the disagreements are, there's a bigger picture, and just being open and honest, and sometimes just compromising and just saying yes, okay, let's do that, even if you're disagreeing, you just say let's do it, let's follow that idea, let's try it, and not being afraid to fail as well has been a huge part of our business. Just trying things and not being scared to get it wrong, or backtracking and trying again has been really important. I don't know if everybody.
Well, also I think like any family relationship as well, there's going to be conflict. It's no point trying to shy away from it and pretend it doesn't happen. So whether that's, I'm one of 5, I've got 3 brothers and a sister. We fight. You fight with your parents, you fight with your uncles and your aunties. You're going to fight with your wife, and you're certainly going to fight with your wife or your husband if you're working together as well. Doesn't mean it's terminal. It just means that in that instance, you've had a little bit of a lock of horns and a little disagreement, but ultimately you've got to come back and sort things out.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
But also from that, Eb, it goes from the other side of that. I think when there is, going on from what Faye said, when there is that bigger picture, it's extremely, grateful and gratitude on the fact that you're in that bigger picture together, and those disagreements and those arguments make the other bit even nicer, because you put it together and you're like, we got through that. From the other
side. Because ultimately you always have to get through it. There isn't when you have a small business, there isn't an option to not, you can't clock out and go, oh, someone else will pick that up. When they start tomorrow morning, you have to work through whatever the problem is. And I think everybody that runs a small business understands that it's just on a daily basis. I mean, don't get me wrong, most of it is good, but on a daily basis, there are always problems that you've got to overcome. And although we've got some staff and we've got other people around us, lots of the problems we have are only for us to solve. And sometimes, sometimes it's done literally over the dinner table, you know. So that's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, with that in mind, Eriona, I mean, when it comes to making big business decisions, how do you navigate through that?
To be honest, what we do, if we've decided, like if I've come up with an idea, for example, I would pitch that to my dad and say, I'm planning to do this for X, Y, Z reasons, and kind of show him how it fits into the business, what benefits there will be from it, the drawbacks that there will be from it. And we kind of go through together, if the worst happens, how can we come up with possible solutions now to try and mitigate those things that we foresee. You know, things could happen that you don't foresee, but as long as you've kind of come to the understanding and you're in agreement that based on the information we have to hand now and what we think the future will look like, we think that this will be the right decision to take. We're in it together at that point. We're both going to be working hard towards that decision. If it doesn't work, it doesn't happen. Yeah. We're conscious that we did it together. You make mistakes, but we'll try to fix it together as well. So I think by talking through it, it helps to solidify kind of our standing with each other, and almost know that, if it doesn't go wrong, we've still got each other and we will fix it just like we have it, you know, in every other situation, or we'll get through it and we'll become even stronger. Yeah. So I think communication is key.
Yeah, I love that. It's sort of very collaborative, and also what I always say is fail fast. If you make decisions, it doesn't work, you're in it together.
Exactly.
Tommie and Rebecca, how about you? How do you guys make decisions?
I think it's more, we just have an open discussion, don't we? Yeah,
we have. Our first year, we didn't. There was a lot of conflict with what we were doing, and we kind of worked through that, and we found that by having split roles, we've got ownership of one thing, Rebecca's got ownership of something else. So then that decision falls into those categories. It's kind of...
Yeah, we kind of worked out our strengths and weaknesses at the start, but we're still kind of working on our weaknesses throughout it. But that's how we kind of do it. And to be honest with you, we say about working 24/7, we'll be in bed and we'll be like, we have an idea. And these ideas will just come up at any time, all the time. But just chatting and listening. And if we disagree, we kind of come to a compromise and get in the middle.
I do think once we split up those roles, it made it much easier, because then the ownership's on, okay, Rebecca, we'd have a conversation, but that's your decision.
Yeah.
And you can, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. Tommie, that's your decision. And I think that worked really well for us.
Is there anything you have like joint decisions on in terms of the business?
Well, I think that all of them are quite overlapping. We'll get like advice, but the majority of them we have. You've got all the marketing and all of the partnerships and collaborations, and then I deal with the more business side and finances. Right. So
it's kind of separation.
Yeah.
So it's a good separation, and it plugs into our strengths individually. So
that's great.
I think that's what we found it worked.
And Eb and Faye, do you have anything to add? How do you do it?
Well, I think we're quite lucky in that we've known each other for so long, been together for so long, and the business we know so well is that it's just naturally happens. We know what we're good at, we know what each other enjoys doing and what we don't, and then it just comes naturally.
Yeah, that's a good point. You've got to do the jobs that you enjoy as well. That's it's when you're divvying up jobs in any team, not just amongst the two of us. It's making sure that everybody's doing the bits they like. But Faye's right. We're along 20 odd years in. We know the things we can do, each of us could do. We know the things each of us can't do. And that pretty much, sort of takes care of itself. When there's something new, it can be fun. I didn't have much to do with this video setup. But
you were told.
So now Faye knows how to do it. So there you go.
Brilliant. So Eriona, you've obviously got a lot of experience working with family-run businesses, the ones that get it right, the ones that don't quite get it right. Any insights there that you could share with us?
Well, for us, I hope that we're getting it right. We're still kind of in business together, which is I think is a good thing. With our clients, one thing that I've noticed is generally those partnerships or businesses where they were family together, they lasted a lot longer than, for example, friends, best friends. I think the longest, I have been surprised. There are two where, so in 17 years of business, only 2 businesses that I've seen that worked well for a maximum of 10 years. After that, they still split up, were best friends that managed to go that far, and then they ended up going their separate ways. I think with family, there's something else that kind of pulls you together because you're in it together. And as mentioned before, no matter how much you argue and whatever, you're still family, so you're going to have to resolve it at some point. You can't, well, in extreme cases, but generally you're going to have to come back together at one point. Whereas with friends, you can go your separate ways. You can, for example, never see each other again, and that's it. But this is from experience with clients. It's just something that has been a lot stronger with the clients that we've had. And we've got a client base, so over the years, we've had about 3,500 to 4,000 clients that we've seen. So to see 2 out of those last 10 years, whereas the rest that are family-run businesses are still going.
Yeah, that says something, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So Eb and Faye, one question before we go to the Q&A, the questions that we've got here. So for budding entrepreneurs who are looking for their first business partner, whether that's family or actual partner, what should they be looking for? What are the qualities you think that people should seek out to have a successful partnership?
I think at the end of the day, it's about hard work. It might be a really easy thing to say. So our business is tennis. I was a tennis player. I'm a tennis coach, and it's the same as getting good at a sport or getting good at playing a musical instrument or anything else. There isn't much of a substitute for just putting in the hours. And we've all talked a lot about being able to manage those hours. And Tommie said he's down to 26. Was it 24/6 or something, or 26, which, but I think a lot of people, particularly a lot of youngsters, don't understand how important it is to work hard. So I think, the idea of, I want to be a successful business person and have a successful business, that's great. But at the end of the day, you've got to put the work in. Unless you're very fortunate or very lucky, it's going to be a question of graft, really, above everything else. So to answer your question, I think when looking for a partner, you want someone that understands that you've got to put the work in.
Yeah, going to pull the weight. Tommie and Rebecca, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think pretty much what going on from what Eb said, but also someone who's on the same page as you. If you've got different goals, if you both want 2 different things, it's not gonna work out. So if you both, what Eb said, we both naturally work very hard, so it worked really well. And then Rebecca's got strengths that I don't have, and I've got strengths that Rebecca doesn't have. So kind of opposites in ability, in skill sets, possibly.
Yeah.
But I think someone finding out what your own goals are with family. It's with Eriona. I'm sure it's family comes first at the end of the day of everything. So your goals are matched anyway. But if someone is actively looking for a perfect partner, without it happening quite naturally, having the same end goal, I would otherwise you're running up 2 different hills.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got some questions coming in. So we have Kelly on Twitter, and she's asking, when it comes to employees and other teammates, what's the dynamic like? And I'm guessing that's sort of, knowing that you're both in a partnership, and how does that make the team feel? Eb and Faye, do you want to give that one a go?
Well, hopefully it's not been an issue ever. We've never made it an issue. We're not overtly, loving or anything at work. So we've never treated anyone any differently because we're in a relationship. I think most of our customers probably wouldn't realise, actually. So hopefully it's never been an issue and never would be. I don't think it's a problem at
Brilliant.
all for us personally.
Eriona, how about you?
So we've actually made it kind of stand out the fact that we are a family-run practice. It's part of our culture and ethos, and we openly act as a family. So we want to show our team that we care about each other, but we want the same from them. So we try to say, you guys are also part of our family, and we expect you to treat each other as such as well. So we don't want a corporate feel. And the idea that if you need anything, whether it's work-wise or personal, whatever it might be, we're here to listen and help out, because we understand that life gets in the way or whatever it might be. But we also extend that to our clients to show them that if I can't do it, someone else will always be available to help you out, whether it's us or our team. And we want you to speak to us like we're a family as well. So I don't like the idea of people going, oh, I'm going to see my accountant, or they're going to ask. I want them to come and be like, okay, I can have an open conversation with them, tell them everything that I need, and then hopefully they can help me out, you know. So I don't want people to keep bits of information that they are too scared to tell us, for example. Tell us everything and let's figure it out together. So that's something that we've kind of shown to hopefully everyone that we've come into contact with.
That's great. So we have a question from Sally on Facebook Messenger, who's asking sort of, I don't know who this may apply to, but how she's always found the hardest part of being a business owner and balancing personal life is arranging childcare. So I couldn't imagine what that would be like if my partner worked alongside me. Do any of you have children that can relate to this question, and maybe you can give some advice to Sally?
We don't, but the only thing I would say was, I think if you make it a stress in your mind, it will become a stress. Like one day we would love to have children, and we would love to integrate our children into the business and for them to be part of what we do. And essentially the main reason with what we do within sustainability is for the next generation and for our children. So there's a great book by the owner of Patagonia, who they have a policy which is all around they bring the children. If you have babies and you are on maternity leave, you can come back to work and you can bring your children into work, which I think, if you're passionate about what you do, that's probably easier than if it's a job, a 9 to 5, where there's not a like underlying passion.
Yeah.
Could I just jump in as well? I don't work with my partner, but I also have a child, and I've seen kind of how my parents tag teamed essentially the business, because they know where we all need to be. So if my dad has a meeting, then my mum could come and pick us up or take us wherever, and they can tag team it that way. As well with me, it's been great where I have had loads of meetings, my dad has, then my mum was able to go get my daughter because she knows kind of where she needs to be and so on. So if anything, I think working with family or your partner does actually have its benefits. You're not having to ask somebody else, I'm really sorry, you know, I've got this. Some things can also come out of the blue. And if you're having to communicate that to somebody who maybe has already something planned, you feel a little bit more awkward asking them to cancel their plans. Whereas with family, they'll do it at the drop of a hat if they can, you know. So if anything, I'd say that has
benefits. All right, so we have one more question, which is from Asha on Facebook, and they're asking, how do you deal with the financial side of the business with a loved one? I'd always where money concerned, it can cause a rift. Eb and Faye, do you want to, without going into too much of your personal financial details, but I mean, how do you navigate that one?
It's not really that complicated. We just treat ourselves like everybody else. We're a limited company. Everybody that works for us, including ourselves, has a salary. Yes, it's certainly not a big complication for us. I make sure I pay myself 5 times as much as Faye.
I'm getting paid?
Oh yeah.
When is that happening?
No, it's never really been anything again, if I'm honest, I think it probably depends on how your relationship is set up anyway.
Yeah.
So we've always been very fair in how we've always been a couple that have always just shared our money anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter to us, how much there is and how much comes out and everything else, because we're going to split it anyway. So it's probably more complicated if you're in a relationship where people are keeping hold of their own money and that sort of stuff. But for us, we work as we're employees of our business and we get paid accordingly, same as the rest of our team. So
brilliant. All right, so we are at the end of our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you do have any more questions or want any more further advice, we have loads of information on QuickBooks on our Facebook page and a community group where there's SMBs, accountants and business owners all there to answer all of the questions that you may have. Don't forget to check out our Perfect Partner TikTok challenge. Again, you can win 10 pairs of VIP tickets to Wimbledon, which I'm wondering if Eb's going to be looking into. So we've had an absolutely fantastic time on today's show, and thank you to all of our guests, Faye, Eb, Tommie, Rebecca and Eriona, and I'm wishing you a really good day. Goodbye.